that's us arrived back home. Great couple of days up in the Trossachs, it was fab, but a lot of things to get on with now. Just making the most of this isolation thing. Quite a few DIY jobs to do. One of them, I'm rearranging my desk setup. I don't know if you guys saw, there was a couple of what was it called again? Disaster vlog. I did a little kind of spiel chat about what went wrong with that. But by the by, I kind of realised it was a bit of a kind of strange setup how my desk is. It's great to work at, it's fine, but if I'm ever going to film any more stuff at the desk, it's going to be a bit odd. So I thought kind of change it up a wee bit and take that opportunity to go over my hard drive setup and things like that, my backup process and all of those kind of things, and just rearrange things and just make things a wee bit more fluid and easier to manage. Yeah, really just making the most of this opportunity of nothing happening time. So yeah, so unpacked the van, everything's out ready. I've just got to lower down the roof always like to kind of lift it up and just make sure it's folded back in correctly before moving again. And yeah, what other things? Got loads of things. We have, after buying this van, we 2 cars in the driveway is proven to be a bit of an issue. We don't have an awful lot of space, as I'll show you. So the plan is I'm going to move this fence thing as well. It's another DIY job I've got to do this time. Hopefully getting some assistance with a friend of ours. But another thing, the reason I'm moving that is because this is where the car is currently coming to. So there's not an awful lot of room. As you can see, we've got to do kind of back in very gingerly as when we're reversing the car, and it can be a wee bit tricky. It's just really a matter of time before the car and the van have a meeting. So that's another job, but first things first, lower this roof, head in, get the paint out and start painting, doing bits and pieces to the new office setup. I'll take you along for the journey there, and then I'll go into the kind of I'll start having a look at the hard drives and things as well, see if I can make that a wee bit more a better setup than what we currently have at the moment. Anyway, I'll catch you guys later on. See ya. So I'm back doing some bits and pieces in the little office space, as you can see. It's all painted now. I've got a bracket here. That is for, I've got kind of hate with chargers and charging batteries and things like that. So I have this, which is just a kind of pegboard from IKEA. So that's going to go up in the wall there, and I'm going to arrange all the different chargers and things to fit onto this, instead of digging around in a drawer looking for the right charger and pulling things out and cables and all that kind of stuff. It was just an absolute headache. So that's the plan. I'm going to get that up there. Most of the chargers are they're actually USB based chargers, which is a lot handier because I've got one kind of USB hub. I can stick that there with USBs coming off it, and just kind of different kind of charging ports required for the batteries. So that's the next plan of action now. New desk setup is done, loving it. It makes life so much easier, just accessing hard drives, being able to put things in and out the computer without having to crawl underneath, because that's where all the previous stuff was kept before. So I couldn't really see what I was doing underneath there, so I've got a good bit of kind of space here. Everything's a lot more accessible. I've got a kind of space down here as well with, you know, the other kind of hard drives and things. If you want me to go through my hard drive setup, sorry, talking about hard drive setup, they're actually backing up at the moment and making absolute noise, so apologies about that. But if you do want me to go over my kind of backup process, my loading photos onto Lightroom, what my process is, my file management and all that kind of stuff, let us know. It's not a long, complex thing, it's just a kind of solid scenario of backup and where I can keep my files. Obviously I work solely off a laptop, so there's not an awful lot of room to keep things on a laptop without it slowing down, so I don't keep anything file wise on the laptop. I just really use that as the kind of the workhorse, and utilize external hard drives like the G-Techs there, and I've got a couple of Western Digitals down there as well, just all mirroring each other. But as I said, I won't go into too much detail as a kind of system I have in place. If you do want to hear more about that, please leave a comment, and I shall do a separate video with that, with a wee bit more explanation about how I do things. But no, I'm really happy with this. I came up with this kind of, well, I didn't come up with this idea. There was I can't remember who did the YouTube video, but it was a pretty cool idea, and I thought, well, all my stuff was always kept in drawers, and I had to pull out cables and dig out bits and pieces because I just didn't have the room how this was set up before. So I wanted to do something a wee bit more accessible. It's not as tidy as I'd like because this cabling system, it has to be mobile. So I take a lot of that stuff away when I go away with me. So all these chargers, I have them on by Velcro, so they can come off, like so, and just pop back on again. So ideally those cables would have been tucked through the back. That would be ideal, so you just wouldn't see them at all, but just to make them accessible and to take them off whilst I hit the road with my stuff for a couple of days. I'll take all those chargers as well. That's the reason it's kind of like that. It could be nicer, but it fundamentally, user ability wise, it is spot on. What else I've got to say, this, doing a wee mini unboxing, I don't know if anyone else has this issue experienced before, but I have the Moment case because I use a couple of lenses whilst, as I said before, I'm doing a lot of my vlogging on this. Currently using A7 III at the moment, but I do a lot of my vlogging on this and keep that just for photography, which is great. I love it. It's it works with the gimbal. All these kind of things are fine, but what it doesn't work with, and I'll show you. Mavic Mini drone controller, and it doesn't work for this simple reason: this cable doesn't fit. Because of the padding around here, it prevents it going actually in and engaging. So what I've had to do in the past is pull this thing off and take it off, and it's just not ideal, and put it back on again consequently when you want to do other kind of filming with the phone. So I've got this little thing, which is, it's not ideal, but it is a bit of a workaround. It's just a kind of mini extender, all it is. So that pops in there, and then it can go in here. The problem with that is it doesn't really fit this that well. I mean, it does work, but put it together, you have to really open these arms holders, they're called, right up, and yeah, it's a bit fiddly. It's not ideal, but consequently that's what you have. Still sticking out a little bit, but it just saves you mucking about with taking this cover off and putting it back on again, which will just eventually it'll putting pressure on the phone, and also putting pressure on the edges of the case as well, so it'll fail at some point if you just have to do that. So yeah, I've come up with this workaround. Please, anything that you guys have done, if you've seen this in the past with this issue, I'm quite surprised this is the thing, because fundamentally, I know they're different companies and stuff, but they use the gimbal a lot on their adverts and their videos and things like that, and I thought, well, they use drones as well, but yeah, it doesn't seem to want to fit. So again, if you guys have any other workarounds which is a wee bit more secure than this, I mean, it works, it's fine, it's just not great. Fortunately enough, this actually does fit in here as well for travel. just in the wee kind of grip parts, it does squeeze in there, and it's sound, that was a bonus. I like when stuff like that happens. So yeah, yeah, there's always workarounds, there's always things you have to then purchase. I think it costs, you know, £2 or something. But it's just another thing just to think about, trying to reduce and trying to minimize the stuff I have when I'm going out doing some. Not there's an awful lot of going out at the moment because of the situation, but when everything passes and we're in a better position to actually venture outside, and we're allowed to venture outside, then you just don't want to be carrying too much stuff, especially little things like that which can easily get lost, and that's you kind of scuppered. Oh, I got another delivery of parcel today. I'll show you. Delivery boxes for prints. Just nice simple black. These are for A3, but my prints that I do A3, great, they would have fit ideal, but I put a border of I think it's you know, half a centimetre, I think it's a centimetre actually, a border around the prints. So fundamentally I thought this would have a wee bit of give of allowing that to fit in, but it doesn't. So I've only got 4. They'll work for A4 prints, but A3 prints I'm going to have to size it up a wee bit better, which is a bit disappointing because I actually have one to deliver. Fortunately enough, it'll just to someone that lives locally, so it'll just be a kind of handover type of thing, handover at 2 meters distance. But yeah, I was a wee bit disappointed because they're quite nice. I like just simple black finish, it's a wee bit more presentable. Print in there with cellophane kind of cover, and that'll be that. But unfortunately the A3 does not fit because of the border. You need a border for mounting for framing because you just encroach into the image itself if you don't. So that's the reason for the centimetre border, but because of that it now doesn't fit into these A3 boxes, which is a shame. But not to worry, you live you learn. As I said, I've only got 4 of them and they will work for A4 sizes, just with a bit of wiggle room as well, but that's easy mitigated with a bit of padding. So that's it for today. Most things, it's supposed to be a big job of clearing and doing bits and pieces in the house, but really this took such a long time to organise this, and I kind of got pulled into doing some file management with my images as well. I want to streamline that as well. It's all about reducing or simplifying workflow. So I kind of got it into a really good place, but it doesn't happen just like that. If ever you guys have tried to move files, photo files, out with Lightroom, and you've tried to look for them before, you'll know exactly what I mean. Everything has to be moved within Lightroom so it knows where to look for it again. So it just takes a wee bit longer. And if you're working with multiple catalogues, the problem there is if you're going to move all of them, then you have to tell other catalogues where you're going to look for them, all that kind of stuff. But anyway, if you want to know about that stuff, please let us know down in the comment section. Any of the stuff I've discussed, if you want to have a wee look more about how I've done that, it's very straightforward. As I said, Velcro clips, so I can take them off and carry it around with them. I've also got Velcro clips in the back of the laptop as well for the SSD kind of working hard drives that I use, just because they're quicker, especially for doing video stuff. They're so much quicker than the spinning discs. So I got a couple of them, mirror each other again, but I've got a couple of Velcro pads in the back of that that attach onto the back of the laptop. Again, just for mobility ease. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. I've got a couple of other things that I've still to do around here. But it's certainly a lot better. I was sitting here, as I said, doing a lot of file management earlier today, and it works good. I feel I've got more space, I've got more headroom and all that kind of stuff, and it works better for this kind of talking to camera stuff, which is better. Anyway, that's it for today. I shall catch up with you guys tomorrow. Not sure what the plan is. We'll just go with the flow.